In my mind, I thought that my children were getting the same shots that I got, and obviously everything quadrupled. I mean, I think for me, personally, I don't understand why we're not waking up to the fact that we've quadrupled the vaccine schedule. And nobody's alarmed about it. Nobody's alarmed that you can put on ABC or CBS or NBC, and in a 60-minute block, you now have 4 or 5 vaccine commercials and endless pharmaceutical commercials. So,
and how many times did they say, oh, you have to get your flu shot, have to get your flu shot? It's only 17% effective. And my friends who have gotten it have gotten the flu that same year, got it worse than they would have if they didn't get the shot.
We're brainwashed now.
So,
we're owned by the pharmaceutical industry. As a mother, I'm very disheartened as to where we are, and I mean, we just got yelled at by somebody driving through the parking lot because we're standing by your bus.
Really?
The violence against.
Why yell at us? Why are they yelling at you?
Well, we were walking with my dad and my brother, my mom, obviously. My brother, he has, it's his comfort. He has a blanket, like, you know, child's blanket. He had it over his shoulder. And a woman drove past her. She was older. She was like 60, 70-ish, and she's like, freaks, and like screamed out the window.
She called you guys freaks?
People, you see it on the internet.
Gosh,
people are violent.
So
you know,
sorry, guys.
It's because people are afraid that if you're unvaccinated, you're gonna be like Typhoid Mary.
But your son was there. Your son was there when she called.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, of course he understands. That's horrible.
Absolutely.
Like, he is higher functioning, like to the point of where he understands a lot, and he's pointed in the mirror and done this and said broken, broken, kept pointing to himself. And have people yell at him. And my dad even told us, he didn't tell us until today, that my brother, he loves truck rides, and my dad's a truck driver. And he brought my brother there, truck driving, and because he loves sitting in a truck and looking out the window. And kids on dirt bikes are going through the pit, and they were calling him a window licker, retarded, like all these horrible things. And it's
That's human nature.
But there's no compassion. You would think in this day and age, with so much of this being exposed in the light, that people would be a little bit more.
And they understand as well.
They do understand.
He does understand, because he does this, and he'll like do that, and he'll look down, and then he'll call himself broken, or he'll start like flicking himself, like punishing himself. And we're like, no, you're not broken. They are broken. You're not the problem. They are. And like, but you can tell he gets so upset by it, and people think that they don't understand, and they do. So you have to treat them like people, because they're people.
You remind me of Bella, really, like, well, bring it on. You've got a problem with my brother?
She's waiting. she's cocked and loaded.
26.
They're 18 months apart.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
I actually am a dispatcher. I'm my dad's boss. So
you're your dad's boss? I love it. You're just the kind of
for a
person
sand and gravel
we
industry.
We need people like you fighting this cause with us, that strength and that fierceness. Join the Poly-Fierce team.
It's tough. It's very, very tough.
Long time, and like we'll bring him to carnivals, and he loves going on the swings. It's, you know, a little kids ride, and little kids will point and stare at him, and instead of like, I want to yell at them, and I want to yell at the parents, be like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, why are you letting your kids do this? But I just tell them, I'm like, he's autistic, you should look it up. And then they just look at me, and they back right off and walk away. I'm just like,
I wouldn't want to mess with you.
So, it's just, you have to. They're human. They're people. They have feelings. You have to treat them like people.
But your passion is because you deeply love your brother. That's where your passion is coming from.
He's my brother.
He's your
my
brother.
mom is such an advocate, and so is my dad, and we all have to be, because we have to be his voice that he doesn't have.
Exactly. Yeah. But it puts a lot of weight on her, because, you know, when you have a child with a disability, the siblings are the ones that get pulled into it, and their lives are changed. Yes, it makes you a better person, makes you more compassionate. But
now, do you have other brothers and sisters?
No,
wow.
just me and
Okay.
him. But I broke up with someone because they didn't like my brother because he was autistic, and I was like, you don't like him? It's a package deal. Sorry. So.
Right. I'm really glad you don't want to be around someone like that.
It's true.
There's too many good men out there. You don't want to be around some jerk like that.
No, but you just. Like I said, just in this day and age, you would think that people would have more compassion, and nobody does.
After the bill in California passed, it's almost like, for me, a lot of wind was let out of my sails, because I don't think that the pharmaceutical industry is just too powerful, and they just own too much, and instead of becoming less, it's perverse to have the advertisements on TV. And I just find that it's like global warming,
Yeah.
we've gone over the tipping point. And
But even like you said, just watching TV, if there's 20 commercials in a 30-minute period, 17 of them
I
are
stopped.
vaccine.
I
and
canceled my
medicine.
Times subscription and my Newsweek subscription because when I open the first 4 or 5 pages, it's pharmaceutical.
Yeah, you must do it
Our story is like everybody else's story. He was developing, happy, pointing, and he regressed after the shots. And
All right, let's go back to how he was before he had the shot. So just have you got pictures of him?
oh yes,
Let's have a look at the pictures of
Sure.
him.
there's one. This is Peter with his dad on the little blue rocking horse. And
Your phone has the pictures that I just took tonight. So they
See,
can
that's
see.
the kind of shot where you just know their eyes are alive, happiness.
he lost, words. He used to say mama, dad, bye-bye, pointing, happy. And then all we noticed at home, he was just starting to fixate watching the ceiling fan.
Yeah.
And the smiles went away.
And this is one from just now, obviously in front of the bus. And he's just.
Oh, you brought him. Where is he?
He had to go home. He
yeah.
got really antsy.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. You should have
overstimulated.
told us. We would have. How long ago was this? Were we doing an interview
Oh,
in
like
here?
6:30,
I think you were doing
yeah.
Oh wow, I'm really sorry. Sorry, guys. Let's have a look. Oh no, I've messed it up. Can you just get it back
Oh,
a
yeah.
second? So I wasn't concentrating.
Yeah, he was
Oh, what a
over-
shame we missed him.
It's
And he's how old did you say?
24. He'll be 25 in December.
25.
But we've tried, like I said, we tried everything. All the
So
gluten-free,
there he is. We just missed him. What a
casein-free.
shame. Would love. And that's his dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful.
Thank you.
I probably have. I probably have
So
more
he
ones.
was. You think these vaccines that damaged him were around what? 12 months? That's 15 months.
No, about 18 months.
18 months. So
18 months.
Before that, did he speak at all?
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Pointing, happy, mama, dada, bye-bye, just happy, smiling. We never ever thought that it would be autism or PDD or anything because it was unheard of in 1990, 1991, 1992.
I had to go to a library to look it up.
My doctor, his pediatrician, just said basically that that would be impossible, that there would be nothing like that. And again, I actually never thought vaccines would have been the problem because my story is completely ironic because who she's named after, Evelyn, my Aunt Evelyn, died of polio because she refused to be vaccinated, and she got polio and she died of bulbar polio here on Long Island. When my children were born, it was like the overzealous mother. I did everything and believed in the system. And then they come and they say that there's going to be an epidemic of Alzheimer's. And then you find out that there's still so many, 0.25 macrograms of thimerosal in the flu shot still. I guess you can request it without thimerosal, but
You
It's
can.
insanity.
The supposedly, so there are flu shots without thimerosal, and those are intended for pregnant women. But you have to know, you have to ask for it, and even then, oftentimes they don't give it to you.
when I was pregnant with both of them, they even said that if you got sick, please try not to take any, aspirin or Tylenol
Don't
or
eat
anything. But now
fish. we're
we're vaccinating while you're pregnant.
That's true.
What
so in
is
our day,
going
they did
on?
do that. They'd say, okay, congratulations, you're pregnant. Go home, eat
Right.
well, stay away
Take your neonatal vitamins.
from drugs and blue cheese. Do you remember that? Blue
It's
cheese.
everything.
And fish, because it has mercury.
Because,
Yeah.
right,
No,
exactly.
I didn't get that. That was before.
never heard that?
No, you were just a baby when I was pregnant. All right, so
Well, that's our story. We've tried everything with Peter. We did gluten-free, casein-free. We tried the secret
is he
infusions.
still on the gluten-free diet?
No. He's actually kind of, I would say, classic autism, that he's a difficult eater, but he eats better than a lot of people that he went to school. People always say it's not really an epidemic, we're just diagnosing it more. First-hand experience says that when he started in BOCES, he was in a small classroom. When he aged out at 21, each classroom had over 20 kids. And people say, well, you're diagnosing it more. And I say, well, if you would have met my son or any of his classmates in 1960 or 1970 or 1980, you would have known that they were autistic. It's not like we just acquired our brains, when pharmaceuticals said we were allowed to say these things. That was the beginning of when I first, because at first with my son, we didn't know what was changing, and our pediatrician had said originally, well, you can't be a little bit autistic, you know, it has nothing to do with anything. But we said we actually saw him in our home videos. You could see him changing, going from a smiling, happy kid to, you know, becoming, right. And he was never diagnosed in the earlier years with autism. It was PDD. Years ago, these things used to be written in the paper before everything was completely bought out by pharmaceutical and nobody can believe anything. I have an early paper from Andy.
Is that the one?
But, and these are all what I've been doing over the years as a mother, waiting. I mean, we even took Peter for secretin infusions. That goes, you know, way, way back. And government knew of Autism Link. How many years ago?
When's that? 2008?